Oh, did it? You get it working?
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll work on it. I brought you some sweets. Let's start. All right. So let's go ahead. We'll work through our squat legs real quick. And then I brought Sides a little bit of croissant so she can eat that. She wasn't able to make our earlier coffee thing. So let's go ahead. Feet together. We're going to do our flat foot squat first. So basically down. Try to keep your head up and up. I think I need to start doing these more often during the week because I'm tired already. All right. So let's go ahead and let's do our next one. A little bit of building on our toes. Again, feet about shoulder width. Keep your back nice and straight. Sides watching, making sure. Louis too. We're down here. This you're going to be on the balls of your feet. Press up and then onto the toes. Press right into those toes. Almost like your big toe is pushing you up. And then back down and back up and push it. I don't know about the rest of you, but this is like all the cracking in my feet happen. Our next one, we're going to really work those toes today a little bit when we get into our stance and we push all the way forward. We're going to talk about it a little so you guys know how this affects us in our fighting and throwing. Whew. You're looking good. What's the matter, guys?
Short pole is really
Are you sure it's too short? Sorry.
It seems like it's.
No, it looks right. Pull it over.
Like extra 6 inches off this end.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're working on putting a tarp up that they're having issues with. All right. So this next one, I apologize for being two-minded here. So we're going to talk about this one. So in our stance, and I want you to take whatever stance. If it's funny foot forward, that's fine. Make sure if you're doing funny foot forward, I'm just going to throw this reminder out. If you're already turned with your hips you're losing power. So be careful with that. You can be turned sideways here, but then cock your hip back a little bit. That way you still have this turn that you can do. If I don't cock my hip, I don't have that turn. Also, my turn, the turn I have, which is about half, is actually away from my opponent. That's not what you want. You want to lean forward and push power into your opponent. That same thing goes with sword foot back. When you turn, you want to push that power forward. So as you lean forward and you turn your hip, think about pushing that hip right directly at the person in front of you. And then go ahead and turn it back and all the way back to your back foot. So I'm going to tuck this in so you can see. So this is a little more detail on this exercise because we're adding the hip engagement so you understand where that power can come from. Here we are. We're forward, just like we've been practicing. We're on that toe. But at the same time, I want you to go ahead and turn that hip. You can see because your foot in the back is on your ball of your foot, it's easy to turn. And then I'm pushing that by point directly in front of me. That's where that hip goes. Same thing. If I'm directly at you, I lean forward and I push this hip right at you. Right here. What we see a little bit is rotational power. So you have to be careful of this. If you're doing just rotating inside your body, you're actually rotating. That power is not extending forward. You're rotating this way, which is fine. Just understand that to rotate and throw a shot that way, you have to be in a closer range. So the idea, and you can see this, if I'm here and I rotate around, so you can see my arm rotates around like this, now my hip is pointing away from my opponent. I have rotational power, which is perfectly fine. Lots of great fighters use that. But I am no longer able to get distance compared to pushing all the way forward and pushing that power right through. If you take your hand like you're throwing a shot put and push, and then back, and push. Remember, push with that hip, and back, and push, and back. You notice I got more linear travel. Also, by having that more linear travel, what's happening is all your power is stacked. And what I mean by that is we have power coming forward onto your front foot. Then we add this power from your hip pushing towards your opponent, and we add your shoulder all going one way. So all that power, like if I was to have a hose and water is coming out of that hose, what happens is all that power is coming forward. The hose is the water in the hose is your power. It's pointing right at my opponent. So that's where all that power is going. Compared to a rotational power, and you still can get a lot of power this way, if that hose sprays all that power sprays all the way across. And you notice I don't get as much range. Okay, so not that rotational power is anything wrong with rotational power, but you have to be aware of when at different distances, what kind of power you need to use. So what I tend not to do rotational power, I tend to do direct power at my opponent. All of that motion is going forward, which requires less energy. Rotational power tends to use a lot of shoulder strength in using that power, or a lot of essentially the ability to create that rotational energy. So again, both legit. Rotational power will also make all your blows usually come from the outside. So the idea here I am, if I'm throwing this shot put and I'm throwing it all the way around, you can see that my arm comes all the way around. Where directional power, here I am, I'm leaning forward and I push straight in. The good way to practice this is what I show at people at training sessions, is if you stand somebody right in front of you, you put your hand on their shoulder and you try to move them. what muscles are we using? We're using our shoulder because we have force coming out this way. That's a very hard to move somebody like that. But if you take your hand and you set it on front of them and you push forward, you see, this is all lined up. Now you're using all your weight to push that person forward. So you get to use less energy, but be able to still carry more force. So understand that's kind of how that power development works. So I'm letting you guys know, I'm not saying you have to use that type of power. There's a lot of great rotational power stuff, but also having that, being able to fire inside the lines of shoulders and have that direct power allows for less force in your body, and you use the weight of your body to deliver the blow. So it's actually, a lot of people have a hard time understanding because they'll hit somebody and they'll feel like it's light, and the opponent can say absolutely good, but what's happening is they don't have to use that same force. I'm not trying to push somebody this way and using a ton of energy. I am literally hand on there, lean forward, and they're pushing back. I'm not using any force in that way because I got stacked power compared to the other way. So that same thing goes for a sword. So that's just a good way to understand. We have a lot of people want to tend to over rotate their hips, so they'll rotate it all the way across their body. So here's my hip, here I start, and then here's my, you notice my hands all the way across my body, right? Compared to right straight forward. Here's my hip, and I pop it directly at my opponent, bang, and right on my toes, right? Right back on my toes. So here we are, I'm on one part of this ladder. I take this, and I drive right on my toes. And then I'm back. And then I drive. And I'm back. So we're adding a little bit of rotational power from that hip. So now we're getting the hip engaged. And if I have a sword, here I am, I'm back here, and I push. And I'm back. And I push. You notice how I'm pushing directly forward. So here I am, and I push. I'm right here in the center. And I'm back. And I push, and I'm back, and I push. All right? So this is the piece we want to think about, is engaging that hip. This exercise we've been doing is helping engage what the next layer is, and that is part of your throw. Remember we talked about when we're throwing stuff, there's lots of layers to build a good throw. And that's what I'm trying to help you with, is to understand those layers. All right, so we did it on, everybody did, oh, go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
It's that boxing / martial arts thing of the punch coming from the ball of the foot through the thigh and up forward, right?
Yes, exactly. That is 100%. Up through that ball of the foot, here I am. I'm driving that foot from the ground. It's pushing forward. So you can take that, and I'm pushing that directly forward, coming through here, through my shoulder, directly forward. All right? So that's the idea in what we're doing there. All right, so let's go ahead and switch feet, because again, all of you, we at some point you get into that space where that exercise of, hey, this foot's always back, or whatever foot that is, if I'm walking around, I could change that and change my distance, and then I could come back this way. And I could change those feet and how I'm throwing. So being able to do things both ways will allow you to develop to that next layer. So that's why we're trying to make sure that we can do that. So we're gonna switch feet. Again, that same thing. We have to make sure this leg is cocked a little. We drive and we push. We get right up on those toes and then back. And push. And back. And push. And back. Push. I definitely need more work on this other toe, though. I can tell you it's not as strong as my other one.
Closer to you.
And again, you notice my hand comes straight forward for these throws. If I rotate this, again, I create an outside angle stuff that's coming in on, and I'll get my sword so you can see it. And this is not that you may use an outside angle sometimes, but you want to make sure you know what you're using when you do it. So here, if I rotate this hip across me, you can see that the sword comes out and rolls, compared to I drive. You notice that sword stays in front of me the whole time. And really stretch that out. Now there's a couple things that happen here with a direct straight line shot, what I call the in between the shoulders, or I stay in line to my body. One is, and we won't cover it a ton, I just want to make sure you guys know, your sword is always coming, if you look at my sword, it's always coming across the striking lines. So that's a layer of defense. When I throw outside, you notice the center line is open now. So even when I'm here and I do this, my offside's open and the center line is open. Compared to when I do this, you notice both of them are closed because the sword is passing the striking line. So my sword is in the way. That's one advantage of throwing right down the center. Louis is going to adjust the camera real quick. All right, camera's adjusted. So again, here I go outside. So this motion right here, anytime a sword falls to the outside, it is easily seen. In other words, your peripheral picks it up because that sword is outside the line of your peripheral view, you pick it up. When I push directly at somebody, it is much harder to see because your peripheral view does not pick it up nearly as much. Kind of what I always refer to as the train or the freight car on the track. You stand right on the track, it's hard to see how fast something's coming at you. And that's what's happening when we're driving this forward. Not only are we getting range, we're stacking power, but we're also hiding our movement. So I am not asking any of you to necessarily change what you're doing. Again, I wish I could throw some of the rotational stuff like Sean throws or some of the Westie friends of mine throw. They throw really beautiful rotational stuff. What I'm showing you is what we tend to throw here, which tends to be more linear stuff. Again, there is no perfect way. What I would expect is that that everybody here has a chance to understand what the difference is and use it when you want to use it. It is very hard to throw a jab shot in rotational movement because the rotation itself is a longer rotation. Just like a jab, it comes straight at somebody's face. So it's bang, right there, right at their face. And we tap them with the top of the sword. So that is a linear shot. And that hand, just like when you throw a jab, that hand comes right in front of you. It's also, again, blocking what they're throwing to your face. So that same thing's happening here. Bang. So that linear long jab becomes much faster because they not only can't see it, the peripheral is hard to see, it's coming directly at them, and you're covering a distance because you're going straight forward. So remember how that works. Understand it. And this is part of, I want you all to understand how things work better, because you're all gonna, the great chance here is you're all gonna be good teachers after we're done. And that's what I would expect, is that you all be better teachers, be able to help others much better. So later today, we're gonna work just a straight jab at the Pell, just so you guys can get a little bit of feel, and we'll review it. Just because the idea is, as Angie has found, is that the jab, that quick jab step, bang, is very, very effective. And in fact, sometimes too effective. In other words, sometimes you might just, if it's too effective, you might have to change things up or just practice it for the footwork alone, because you also don't want to tear your opponent down. But when you say the fight is on, that should be the first thing you throw until they figure out how to block it. All right. So
I have a question on the funny foot forward.
yes.
Your front knee, is it turning in with the hip or does it stay straight?
So here, what's going to happen is that knee tends to go. I try to go forward. So what I do is here's where I am. In fact, you want to put it on the foot cam?
No, I just want to go full screen.
Okay. Gonna go full screen. Wait a second. Yeah, I'll put a view in the top corner there. There you go. I can see myself a little better now. All right. So here, you notice my foot is still in the same. I get a slight tilt out. Here's my foot, and then I'm leaning forward and turning this. So the hip is turning in. The knee is just going down towards the ground. You notice it still looks like it's mostly coming forward. You get a slight turn in it, but not huge. And then this hip comes back. So literally, if I were to just bring this back, I turn it a little bit. There I am. And then bang. And then you notice how I turn back. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. And what we'll do a little bit later is I'm going to have Beth show this because she also does funny foot. And I'd like to just see how she does that, make sure that everybody sees, everybody has a little bit of difference. She does funny foot a lot more than I do. I'll do funny foot when I'm fighting somebody. I'll be out here, and I'll change, right? Just because I can change ranges and stuff. So again, we've gone through, this is what you should have. These are the rules. And now you guys are in that layer of, we're trying to get it so you understand you can break those rules. Not something you want to do all the time, but you can break those rules. All right, I think we're about ready to run through some quick foot drills. And then we'll get into more sword detail later. And we're going to get into more thinking concepts. So again, primary thing in these, breathe.
When we say quick, how quick?
Why, you need to go run, do something?
No, I'm just, how quick do we want to run through these versus spending time on them?
I think let's go ahead and run. Let's do the quick versions. So we're going to try to run through these relatively fast. We may not do all the variations today. For most of the people there, go ahead and when you have time between stuff, add the variation of the back and forth stuff like Louie's been working on, and where you kind of break up your pattern. But we're going to run through them straight so everybody knows.
So we're starting off with 2-foot run.
And breathe.
And then backwards.
If you have time. Like we said, this one, we should all have time. Some of the other ones, we're going to sort of breeze through a little faster.
Yeah. Remember to sit into that one. Don't lean forward on those. Sit into it. All right.
Then we're going to go ahead and move on forward into our hopscotch. So we're hopping with both feet out to the side and in.
Let's work into this one. Let's get this nice and low and let's build some speed here. Everyone breathe. Find that space to breathe.
Everyone is doing so much better with this one now, so much less up and down.
Yeah, I know. If you're protecting your knees, then absolutely skip this one. I gotcha. No big deal. Louis trying to get a second ladder set up elsewhere in the yard right now. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward to our basic skiers. So this is our drop and gather step.
Yeah, no, and like I said,
1 foot in, 1 foot out, and we just drop open and then gather the other foot. It's pretty small side to side because we're always ending with 1 foot in the ladder.
remember the burst on the, you can get a little bit more burst on this by getting a little lower. Again, breathe. And you can see I'm changing up the pattern a little bit. You guys are welcome to do it straight, like side is right now, or change it up as you go. Remembering this is a gathering step, not a shovel step.
All right. And then after this one, we're gonna go into the wide skier. So this is the same thing, but we're gonna do it all the way across the ladder now. As you get to the end of your drop, you're gonna give that little bit of push with your outside foot, get that extra distance.
John Eric, make sure they're doing the long gather steps. And making sure their feet are wide at the end.
Yes, focus on when you land on the outside of the ladder, you need to be in your stance. If you can't quite clear the ladder, that's okay. It's more important you end in your stance.
That's it, push yourselves.
Goal is either side of the ladder, but ultimately it's just trying to work towards being bigger than our original ones.
And remember not to lead with your foot. Remember, lead with your hip and fall it. That's better, Bess. And lead with that hip. Nice, Margarita. You know what? You are leading with your hips so much better nowadays. Totally awesome. Yeah, that's looking good.
Agnes is doing great dodging furniture.
Magrat's doing good too. She has that's really awesome.
It's okay. Having to dodge furniture is just extra complication of things you're going to have in a fight later when you have to dodge people and swords. If you can dodge furniture,
that's right.
You can dodge a ball. If you can dodge
all right,
a wrench,
Beth, don't bring your feet together. I want to see some stance outside of those. That's it, right there. That's better. Be ready to throw. There you go. Yes.
All right.
That's it. Get that focus in there. I'm pushing on you today.
So now we're gonna roll on into the shuffle version of the skier. So 1 foot in, 1 foot out again, and now we're just swapping the order of the feet. Outside foot, gonna come together and then open up.
Let's dig into those legs, everyone. Think about this as a real move. You have an opponent in front of you. This is where you start learning how to be focused. Nice, Greg. That's the way. Yes. Everyone, that's much better. This is where, again, this is where we start learning how to be much better focused on doing something. I can just do this exercise like this, right? I could not care about it. It's no big deal, even with my legs bent. You know, I could just do this exercise. back and forth. But we have to take it to the next level. Think, this guy's right in front of you. I'm gonna block, I'm gonna strike, right? Let's keep focused. A good practice is focusing on what we're trying to get to.
All right, the next one is gonna be it's that same skier shuffle step with a turn. The TikTok one that we're still really trying to stop using that name, so I'm being bad for saying it. This is the one special request from Bess that we're gonna spend a little more time on digging into just to be sure. What camera view is gonna be best for you to look at this, Bess? I know you've got your diagram now.
What you got up right now is great.
Perfect. So Bronis was just showing it, but we'll kind of talk through it again. You want me facing you or facing away?
How you are is perfect.
Okay, so back up a few so I have somewhere to go. So I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out again, and I'm going to angle in. And the way that we're doing this, we're actually kind of keeping our feet right side by side. So whatever foot is outside the ladder, no matter what my stance normally is going to be further forward with respect to the direction of the ladder. And then just like that last one, this outside foot's coming in first and opening up. So it's just like doing this one, but I've added this angle, and then I have to spin that angle the other way as I come across.
And you notice the key here is turning that front foot on your move, or the back foot.
So as I step,
turn.
this one is already pointed in its final direction, and then I just step out. Already, I'm in like ballet 5th position going on here, but stretched out, so it's more 4th position if you're a dancer person. Already turned the other way, then I just step open. And if having your feet turned that far apart is like a big wrench on your knees and is no good for you, then just turn it part way, and then you can rotate on the ball of your foot as you finish out the move. Just point straight down, not get nearly as much of a wrench in the knees. Rotate the rest of the way as you go. Whatever is nicest on your knees and works for you.
So for everyone, we're trying to make sure we clarify. This is a kind of a step we don't see in the SCA much. They do use it a lot in boxing. So, but we want to make sure that everybody understands it well. Ron Galder, can you make sure you're kind of watching, and if anybody needs help, let us know.
I am.
I'm going to show a variation on this at the end.
And what I'm finding I do is actually, as I am going to step with that front foot, my back foot is already pushed up on the ball, so it can rotate and help take some of that torque out of the knees. Both legs are sort of already rotating immediately.
You will find when you do this the right way that you end up with your feet literally off the ground at the same time a little bit.
Or at the very least, you're up on your balls if you're not actually leaving the ground. I'm fully leaving the ground close, but the one that's still touching, I'm way up on the ball.
Way up. Yeah, there's no pressure on it.
It's all good.
So let's everybody go through this. We're going to watch extra special, make sure everybody's looking good here, and then I'm going to show you a variation.
Always ladder time.
All right, just so everybody knows, here we have a few people. You'll see them probably in the back working out and stuff. They released Michigan outdoors. Almost everybody here is vaccinated as well. So outdoors is no masks. Indoors is masks.
It's like it might be actually everyone except for the children.
Yeah.
We're all wearing the masks.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's all about the children.
Very good
so it's
compliant
pretty
children.
good. So don't be surprised. We're still following our local CDC guidelines, and it's not an SCA practice. So
Yeah, as for always, this is entirely unofficial.
Margaretta, you have good flow and your height is good. I like it all. The thing for you to add now is to make sure that when you lead with your hips, your shoulders aren't getting left a little behind. You're starting to hip lead enough that your shoulders are hunching forward which is going to bring your shots when it comes time. They're going to be throwing low. You'll have a hard time throwing at the head. Does that make sense? I hope.
Yep.
Kind of ending up in this position. You just want to straighten that up.
Yeah. And that goes for everybody. I saw a little bit that with a number of people, including myself. A lot of times when we switch too fast, we'll start getting a little duck butt.
And you stick that leg out. And
Right.
we don't want to be sticking it out. We want to be
Right here. So, and I'm going to show you how this looks when she does it on me as I walk backward. You can see that she breaks to my sides constantly. I have to I'm turning my upper body to adjust. She's actually in good form. I am not. So, there's a,
You gotta figure it
Yep.
backwards. Always backwards.
and then backwards.
This one gets me.
And remember, anytime you can switch those. Just like what Louis was doing before. We could be in here, you could do these, and you can switch them back forward.
Speed it up, gets more stuff.
Yes, it does.
That's what we're working.
All right.
Okay, we ready to move on to that next one?
I'm going to just show one more real quick. Everybody
Okay.
take a look and we'll move on to the next one. But I'm going to show something real quick on side here while Louis finishing his up. She's going to stand right in front of me. One of the big pieces on this is if I'm over here, you notice I'm in this position already. Other way to do this, you could literally throw your hip into the position you want and just jump over. This starts sliding in, and then I'm way over here. I'm literally up in the air almost at the beginning of this.
How about I move so they can actually
So
see
here we are.
what you're doing?
So I turn this hip. I think about pushing this leg. So just be aware, you'll see that in boxing a little bit more. They tend to add their hips to that turning momentum.
It'll get you a more turn into it for sure.
But this is a good way to start. As you get better, see if you can figure out how to add that hip in there. Kind of creates a little bit more speed as well. All right, on to the next.
All right, next one is our
On to the
three
sun.
step. So it's we're taking the angle back out of it, going back to our shuffle step, and instead we're adding this step forward at the beginning, then I shuffle step across. Step forward, feet together, feet apart. So it's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
3-step shuffle. Where the hell's my 3-step shuffle?
And backwards.
Yep, and we'll run it backward. So you just take that step backwards and shuffle across. And I'm taking the ladder with me because I don't pick up my feet moving backwards.
That's hard to switch back.
Yes. So I was definitely demoing with the sort of slow step, step, step. But as you work on speeding it up, of course, the goal is just one fluid motion to one side, stop, one big fluid motion to the other side. Try to smooth it out as you speed it up.
In a discussion with Louis a couple weeks back, we came up with something for those like him who are more advanced in these. I'm watching a couple of you able to go through these very smooth and very fast. If you have reached that point, then I suggest when you go up the ladder, you do whatever the foot movement is twice and then one backwards and treat that as one instead of doing the motion, a pause, doing the next one, pause. If you're smooth enough to go through them quick, then do 2 together, forward and 1 back with a little pause, 2 forward and 1 back, 2 forward and 1 back. Then when you go backwards, you do 2 back and 1 forward, 2 back and 1 forward. It's going to teach your mind to begin to combine movements together instead of thinking of one movement at a time. But you need to be at the point where you can comfortably and smoothly go through these. This is for people who are finding themselves more advanced with a particular step.
And then now we're gonna take it one step further and we're gonna do our cross behind, which is almost the same as the three step, but instead of bringing our feet together, I'm gonna step forward, and instead of coming together, I'm gonna let it just go all the way behind and then open back out. Step all the way behind, open. So we get more side to side motion out of this. You get more range side to side.
And if you watch, as she gets better at this, it's like that foot is almost leaving before the other foot's touching down. So as you burst into these, you're here. And you can be literally here. I step here, and then I shift way over here. I'm falling right into that shot. Right?
And remember to focus on, you want your hips pointed forward the whole time, or as close to forward as possible. We don't want them twisting side to side as the legs cross. The more you can bend your knees and stay down in that, the easier it is to keep the hips
Yeah, no,
forward.
it just goes down that far. Yeah, no.
Yeah, I know.
No,
Don't kill yourself over there, Sivert. You almost took a header on that thing.
Well, between William and me, we both tripped on it about 5 times already, so.
Oh, gotta lift them feet. I know, I hate it too.
I mean, you're watching us trip over it. It's a thing.
Bridget, you're looking great. That's awesome. Yeah, your timing on your feet here are really beautiful, and your change-ups are nice. Magrat, you've been looking great today. I tell you, I commented earlier, you're not here, but to side, that your feet look great. Kramer, how you feeling over there? Getting a little hot? Good. Keep it working. That's it. Remember, again, really focus here. Think of person in front of you, and like you're blocking and throwing. All right? And you're finding breath as you're doing all of that. Okay?
This one I have a lot of trouble doing backwards.
Yeah, so you just have to remember when you take that step back, and transitions are hard on this one, just to be aware.
Mention the crossing in front.
Yeah,
Yeah, remember you're crossing in front.
when you're moving backwards, the foot will cross in front.
yeah.
Because what I'm doing is I'm taking a step backwards. So now the clear path is here. I have to do a weird, like, circle to get behind. So I have stepped back, cleared this path to cross in front.
Right. So when you're going backwards, you're crossing in front. When you're going forward, you're crossing in the back.
Because when I'm going forward, I've now cleared this, like the leg that's going to cross is already behind. So you just leave it behind and cross that way. But when I'm going backwards, now the leg that's going to cross is in front. So you just let it cross in front.
Yeah. So I want everybody, and just do a couple of these. And this one, I want you guys to all really focus for a second. And I want you to burst into this thing. I really want you to think you're fighting somebody. And I want you to make sure that hip is flowing, and make sure you're nice and low in those legs, even like an inch lower, and like burst into it like you're hitting somebody. That's it. Exactly,
Yeah.
Beth. Yeah, everybody. We're going to work on this concentration. Let's see it, Bridget. Yeah, into it. Like you're going to punch right at the end of it. Punch him. There you go. Good.
To be quite honest, as we've started trying to do drills and stuff with these, including adding in throwing shots, this crossover and variants of it where you're turning or whatever is the thing I use the most. It has become like the most comfortable piece of footwork to be like, I want to be way over there right now.
Yeah, see then,
Exactly.
You can stay balanced. It's not a big giant like crazy push from one leg like doing a
we've been
open
doing.
gather type step is once you can get a hold on these, I have found them super useful, and therefore I'm hoping all of you do as well.
Step forward on the outside foot, take a jab.
Oh, like adding a jab foot and then back, yes.
And now Louis is creating even more cool variants.
And that's the trick is Louis,
This
you know,
is our inventor
so Louis,
right
just
here.
show him, just so everybody can see. Again, like we were putting katas together the other day of different things. Louis putting one together of the feet here. He's kind of adding like what we call our little jab foot and then turning that into a changeup. Go ahead.
So we were doing the crossing where we step forward on the inside foot and cross, then step forward on the inside foot and cross. I thought, what if we step forward on the outside foot? Then I could cross. But now it feels more like a jab foot.
Yeah, it's a little stutter step. You're not fully putting your weight on it. You're just kind of going ha,
Right.
and then
So I
using
just
it to
take
go.
something and I try a little different and see what it turns into.
It
Exactly.
seems like a really good misdirection step. You're like, I'm going over here.
Yeah,
you're
and
not.
that's exactly. So if I'm standing, I'm going to be his opponent so you guys can see what I see on this.
It's create a new
Here I am, I'm fighting him, and he gives me this jab and then moves this way. So what I did is I took that jab as he was going this way. You notice my body turned here, and then he went over here. So do it again, right in front of me. Here I am. You can see I turn into the first jab step, and then he's around me. Okay? So that's the idea of the more we understand how we move our feet, the more we can do things like Louis showing right here. We can create things with it and see how they work against people. And this is what makes you a smart fighter and a better fighter in the long run. Okay? So again, this is going back to last week, we're building stuff by knowing techniques, and this is just another great example of that.
Now, we run into our fourth step. I'm all the way up to one side of the ladder. This time we're just doing 1, 2 in,
Oh, what do we do?
3, 4 out the other side. And again, as you speed it up, you want it to just be one fluid motion across with those 4 steps instead of a distinct. You want to smooth
And remember, you
it
can
out.
turn that into 6 steps if you want.
Yeah. Just working on that sideways shuffly movement. And again, hips forward is a side-to-side motion. And Louis is going to add all the direction changes forward and backwards. Get all complex with it. And then one day he's going to be fighting somebody and he's going to be moving in all these directions and they're just going to have no idea what's going on and I'm going to laugh a lot. Like, gonna happen. Like, I'm really, really looking forward to the day I get to watch you teleport around someone and like smack them in the back of the head while they're confused. It's gonna be great.
Oh, man.
It's looking good, Margareta. I like how you're staying nice and flat.
Margareta has been consistently smooth. Margareta, watch as you end on the left and the right that you are more in your stance and not just prep to move to the next step.
Finish all the way into stance. There you go. I like it. Alright, we're gonna give this one more second, let people finish their runs they're in the middle of, and then we're gonna move on and start all of our in and out outs.
It seems like when I do this one, my last step is like a half a beat behind the other 3.
You wanna show us?
Try and think of keeping your hips moving in a straight line.
It doesn't look like it's way behind. They're not perfectly even steps, but they don't have to be. This doesn't have to be a even 1, 2, 3, 4 rhythm. It's really more about getting that smooth motion, which you look like you're doing.
Yeah. Which one did I miss?
4 step.
I did the first part of that one. Okay.
Okay, then you didn't miss any.
All right, good.
All right, so now we're gonna move into all of our in and out stuff. So starting with the sideways, lateral, in and out. Step forward into the box, back out. 1, 2. Focus here is actually moving your whole body a little bit forward and backwards. Not just moving your feet underneath your body.
And again, what we're learning here is that real transition of that forward lean into these steps and then sit lean. Forward lean, sit.
And it's all going to be smaller as you speed it up because there's just only so fast you can move forward and backwards. So if you're moving faster, you can. It's going to get smaller when you go faster, but that's okay as long as there's still some. We don't want to just be penduluming under our shoulders. That's the big thing. Oh, Magrat's killing it.
Angie, make sure you don't turn that front foot in. Because then you
Magrat's a speed demon on this one.
Yeah, you want that. You always want to keep those shoulders and hips on your opponent.
That was a good correction, Eric. You were penduluming for like 2 steps and then you fixed it. That was really good.
Agnes, a suggestion because of your limited space for this one, instead of starting outside and going to the middle, start on the edge of the ladder and go to the other side of the ladder. So you have a little more foot space.
You can just step from one side to the other.
For some reason, that looks more comfortable.
Then you don't have to worry about running into the stuff behind you.
Yeah, it means that I'm not crashing into the stairs, for instance. Like I
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, so gonna let people do their one last run on this. And then we'll move to the... What?
Oh, sorry, it was the comment. Sorry, I didn't know I was off mute.
That's all right. Oh, the cat on the shoulder? Nice. Okay, so now we're gonna go on and we're gonna do our forward in and out out. So this is basically we're taking our hopscotch and breaking it down to single steps instead of a jump. I'm just gonna step 1, 2 out to the side, 3, 4 back into the middle.
Again, let's get really good concentrate. I want you to really think like a concentrate and breathe like there's a person standing right in front of you.
And this one is keep your body and the legs just fly around underneath it. This one, body, straight line.
And just like the others, do it backwards too.
Or if you're
If you
already
can.
a whiz at forward and
Oh, I
backwards,
suck at that. Let me try that
do the
again.
mixed pattern like Louis doing.
Nice, Louis.
Louis has always had real fast feet on this one, so it's definitely all about the crazy patterns now.
Great job, Magrat. Jeez.
I know, she's looking great today.
Yeah.
Someone's been practicing.
Somebody's been practicing without us.
All right, I'm going to expect more from her next time I fight her then.
All right.
At least expect her to be all over the fighting field with you. You're all static in the next fight.
That's the way,
We know it's a
Sivert.
lie.
I'd like to see both Sivert and William. Let's change those patterns up for you over there.
That's a lot of steps.
Yes.
That's the way. William, you're just great. You're killing me, man. Let's see you, Grimmer. Ooh, who's the big man with the fast feet?
Yeah, no kidding.
Look at his head. It's like on a rope.
I was just noticing his head isn't moving at all.
Holy shit.
Grimmer, you really should be proud of that. That's impressive.
That is awesome.
You know, I want to point out Margareta too. What she's doing is she's not as fast, but she's making sure she's doing it right. And she's been consistently focused on that. I really like that.
Yeah, she's really, I like that she's perfect, keeping that nice steady. You can see her hips are always like in its right place and everything. That's really good.
right. So now we're gonna
Nice,
move into
Beth.
our many versions of jab jumpy things. So we're gonna start with just basic jump in and out, or if you're in the limited space, jump from one side of the ladder to the other. Or just 1 foot forward, jump in and out. This again, whole body forward and backwards. We're changing range with this one, and then switch feet, go the other way.
So I want to add a little bit to this one. I'm going to make side do it too.
Okay. what
So
am
I
doing?
want you hands up like you're going to throw a shot. So you're going to take that jab step and you're going to throw a shot. You notice that? Think about hitting that person right in front of you. All this is that line up, turn your hip, everything's bang, I hit, I'm back. Bang, I hit, I'm back.
You start with just throwing a punch if thinking about a sword without a sword in your hand is making it weird.
All right. So we're adding a little bit to this. We're adding timing with that jab hand and the hip.
Oh yeah, and coming back this way, my hips immediately went.
Exactly.
Keep stance in mind, you guys, as you go forward and backward. Don't let your feet come together. This is moving your whole stance forward, your whole stance back.
And if you're having a hard time, do it one piece at a time. Jab into box, turn your hip, and punch at the same time. So just jab into the box, turn your hip, and throw the sword. And then bring it back. And then jab into the box, turn your hip, throw the sword. You can break that into 3. So if
watch out, don't. What my bad habit I fell right back into when I tried to add the shot was my hips turned away. You don't want that. I still
exactly.
But I just naturally went to hey, and that's fine.
Yeah. So Saib's explaining there. You don't want that front foot to turn in because then you're losing your defense and offense. You always want to be in the spot you're used to being defensive and offensive in. If you're always in the right spot, you're ready to do something, no matter if that's offense or defense.
You can get like the little shoulder twist in there because we're trying to throw a shot, but don't let it turn into your whole body. The only way that's going to work is if you are in the middle of doing one of these.
Nice, Yan. I like that you're doing it like both off and on sides. So that's good. You can absolutely do it that way. The last piece, I want you to pull that hand down because you're going to keep that forearm up. They're going to hit it. So make sure you're back to where that's supposed to be. There you go. Good. That's what I wanted to see. Thank you.
That was much better, Agnes. You kept your stance and you were consistent.
I don't know if anybody got a chance to go back and take a look at any of the old episodes. Again, I really, if you guys get a chance, try to burn back in some old episodes and take a look at some of the things, the way we started, and give me a review during the week or even next Sunday and say, hey, I got a chance to look and man, I feel so much better now. Okay? Or, hey,
one comment about that is the more you leave it on gallery view during the feed, then the more we can see ourselves and look at that kind of thing. I don't know if that's or not.
Yeah.
Well,
not everyone.
I'll give you the behind the scenes is because we want people to be able to leave their cameras on and get feedback even if they don't want to show up on Facebook. We try not to leave it in gallery view. So you may have to like record it yourself with your camera view or something.
Right, that makes sense.
A lot of times, especially earlier on, I was trying to switch it around among the people that were okay being shown. But like days like today where we're trying to run through it a little faster, I can't do that as much. So I understand the frustration on that end, but to try and do the best we can for everybody, this is what we're going with.
No problem.
All right. All right.
So now we're going to move into our switch foot. So 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and we switch them. So again, this one, now the body is not moving forward and back, it's staying upright, and the feet are just moving underneath it. well. And there's also the part where we're trying to keep the Facebook audience in mind and trying to keep the demo view with us big and easy to see for the people trying to follow along later at home. Because they don't get an option of what view, they get whatever we give them.
Louis and Bronis, make sure you guys keep your eyes up when you're doing that.
Yeah, I noticed I'm falling. Whew. It's gonna be rough when it's hot out.
I know, right? That's a new one. It's almost
No, we've
like
been doing
summer
that.
is the devil. And there I go looking down. So. I love your purple umbrella. Thank you. Very nice for today.
I had to laugh because he's always telling me that.
Exactly.
Yeah. We are equally as guilty of anything that we have ever corrected anyone on because that's how we, learned it and that we need to watch for it. We all messed it up at some point.
Nice to meet you. I know, right? We started just a video. Tiny box.
Okie dokie. Next one. We only got 2 more, guys.
I'm gonna go grab my wife.
We have the 2 forward and 1 back now. And then we do it backwards, also known as the wrong Valder special. But forward 2 rungs and then back 1. Or if your ladder is differently sized, forward some number and backwards some smaller number. And do both feet forward, backwards. However many versions you can fit in this time. Now I'm going to do the wrong Valder backwards. Oh, even though I'm real garbage at it. I reach out with that back foot real bad.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. I want to know where mine is. So go ahead and add that punch on the beginning.
Margarita, remember, it is your back hip that is being driven forward, not your front hip. If you push your, in your case, your left hip first, then you end up turning sideways. So you're actually driving the right hip forward because that's what's going to be behind your shot when you add that. So your motion and timing is good, but your drive tends to be too much on your shield foot.
Well, it was cloudy and cool, and now it's sunny and miserable. Oh well. Alright, got a couple folks still running. Then we'll get into the last one of the day. Grimmer is very excited about the last one.
Bronis, when you're going back and throwing, it looks like your back foot is turning out. Is that what you want?
Yeah, when I throw, I want to rotate my hip. Are
Okay.
you talking about my heel is turning out?
It wasn't. It was actually when you were going back, your toe was pointing off to the right and it looked like it stayed that way.
Yeah, the first ones I wasn't turning my hip at all.
Okay.
So I had to adjust to get the hip turned because it's a different.
That back foot wants to catch you.
That back foot, you want to kind of feel like you're going away, so that hip, you never engage the hip.
Right. And that's why I was wondering if your focus went to the shot and off of the foot, if I was missing something.
Yeah, so the idea is I'm back, and then I as I'm pushing, I try to engage those together. So back, engage.
Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into our last one. Finish out ladder drill strong. It's our turning drill. So the most weird brain melty one, but it's all good. All right, I'm in my stance. I take my back foot, point it down the ladder, flip around back into my stance on the other side. Back foot again, point down the ladder, flip it. All the way down, leading with that back foot.
And if you have knee issues, start at a 45 to the ladder instead of 90 to the ladder. So just face down in the direction you're traveling at a 45, and then bend your knees a little bit more so there's not as much strain on your knees.
And in general,
And then backwards.
Yeah, and in general, the more you stay on the balls of your feet, they can rotate along the way and adjust to take the stress off your knee.
Right. Also, you can do these with smoother motion. You can do these all on the balls of your feet the entire time to work on balance. You can do shorter steps. You can do longer steps to cover more range. You can try this a whole lot of different ways.
And then try it with stepping with the front foot first. So I'm in the same stance. I have not switched my feet. I am just taking the front foot to step first. So it doesn't matter what your stance is, right or left foot forward, just pick the foot that's in front or back.
I need to bring my gloves over too, so we can do pad with them.
Got mine in the garage right here.
And again, as you do these, I want everybody at the end of this to literally think that the opponent is standing right here on the ladder, and you're turned into a corner. Here we are, and look at me. Set. Now I add a wrap or a cross side.
With him being that far ahead of me, I'm not turning the straight.
And that's
while
fine.
I'm adjusting to the opponent.
Right. Exactly. That's okay. If I didn't turn right, you would.
Like I gotta climb on top of you for a wrap. I'm not the best person for demoing wrap shots, just because mine still need a bit of work. But
All right.
anywho,
So I want you all to think
that rounds
as
it out.
you've gone through all of these, and before we pull a Pell over, we're gonna actually before we actually do that, the Pell work, I'm gonna go ahead and have Louis. Louis, you want to talk a little bit about changing, because you've been working a lot on changing feet stuff. So you want to talk about a little bit of footwork and how you transition mentally into switching your feet, how you got there, because still some people are usually just going back and forth.
Right.
And they need to be
Doing
able
the
to,
next one?
like what you and like that next level up of footwork, kind of like what you and Rongvalder talked about.
Right. So just like Ron Baller explained earlier, I've been focusing on doing 2 steps forward, 1 back. I like that, or 2 sequences forward, 1 sequence back. I like that more because it forces me to still think about a pattern, so I'm not just like free moving any direction. So, and I find that I'm still stuttering on stuff, but thinking about that pattern makes me try to anticipate where I'm placing my feet before I get there. So it's getting me to think farther forward into the stuff I'm doing, and then get more comfortable with that. while moving around.
And I think that's the key is for Louis, you know, this is creating that ability in his head of how to develop more steps. Just like today, the step he showed you earlier with that jab step and then that transition. That's the first time he's really done that. Right. And so now he's starting to learn how to create, because he's not, sometimes we get so stuck in a linear pattern like we do, which is all good, you know, which is all very good work. All the you know, this is teaching us the fundamentals, but this is that brain piece we're talking about. And that is, we have to learn and understand, when you know you're good at something is when you understand it and can change it yourself. And that's where I want everybody to get to, is where they understand it and where they can change it themselves. Because the sooner you can do 2 forward, 1 back, the sooner in a fight you could do 2 forward, 1 back, right? And then the sooner after that you get so comfortable, you might do 2 or 3 forward and 1 or 2 back. But you know, now he's able to create these things, and that's what the important part. You know, we built a super foundation of how to move our feet and how to be comfortable. What we really built is understanding our body and our balance. We understand our center better than we ever have. I would hope, Angie, would you agree? How do you feel about controlling your center in those fights that you just had?
I was pretty happy with it. I mean, some of it was the fact that it was the first fight in about 5 months. So it was a little bit like, how do you play this game again? But there was a lot there that I was happy. And like I was saying to Sean yesterday, I felt more in control, and I felt happy about where I was with my body a lot of the time.
And that's exactly what we're trying to get to, is where, you know, all of a sudden when we're in a fight, like even me and Louis, we're in a fight, he can do stuff, you know, he can just go ahead and we can flow, and you can see how he's just getting comfortable. He's adding some feet in there, he's adding some jab feet, and then he does a double shuffle sideways, and if I get too far, he can do a jump forward and throw. He can push me off now with a little jab foot, and then he has all of these things that he can start adding, but he's comfortable. He's not, you know, oh, he's doing something, now I'm responding, now I gotta think. He's actually literally like, I can flow between all of these, and as I take up that space, I can force my opponent. The idea is you're owning that space. If I'm just following Louis as he's doing stuff, you notice he's controlling me here. I don't even know where he's going yet, right? You know, he's totally in control. He's making me think every minute of this. And if I stay, Louis is going to hit me because he owns that fight. So us being able to respond and owning a fight like that is a big part of winning a fight. So I want you guys all to understand how that works. That's why I really wanted to go through some of this with Louis and the creative thinking that he's working on and what tools Rongwalder gave him to try out to get there.
Right. One more piece on that. Just like learning to drive a car for the first time, where everything is lots of information and lots of processing, and every single one thing you have to think about. So if you can do 2 forward, 1 back and get comfortable with it, so even though it's complex moves, if you can get to where the 2 forward and 1 back is a single thought and not 3 thoughts, then you're freeing your mind to think about other things.
While you execute it, you can already be thinking about, where am I going next?
So it's training you to turn multiple things into single things so that you can free your thought process up more.
So you can see, you know, you notice that every week we try to work something a little bit different. Like we started talking a lot more about breath lately and trying to find the spaces to breathe. And we started talking about, you know, at the beginning we started with just the footwork, and then we moved that footwork into our hips. And today we're concentrating a little bit more even on how that hip turns and the connection from, you know, that connection we have from our toe through our body, right? So we're talking about all these pieces because that helps you be fully educated, and you can review your video and say, oh, I'm not doing something, right? And you can help yourself better. But ultimately, you notice that we're also going into the mental side of the game a lot more right now. You guys all can do the physical side much better than you ever have, but I want you to own the game. So I can out physical somebody, but if I don't know how to put them in the place I need to, which like Rongvalder is a master of, if I don't know how to put them in the place I want to, it doesn't matter how good I am physically or technically. I have to be able to put them into the place and then do something. And that's where I want you guys to start thinking. But not only in that thinking piece, because we started last week with the katas and stuff. Today I also started focusing on focus. Focus is a really huge part of creating all the energy into one spot to build that complete focus on something. This is your opponent on the field in front of you. You are manipulating them and doing something. There is nothing else. You walk on that field, you find that, everybody asks, where's that how do you get focused? Rongvalder, he gets on that field, he gives the bow, kind of puts the sword down, and then he's in the game. That's his exercise to get that perfect piece of focus. But focus is a skill as well, and that's a skill we can work on. All right? And that's why I wanted you guys to work on that skill a little bit today in the exercises that you're comfortable with. So we're gonna push that focus next week a little bit more. But today the next step is we're gonna work really a little bit of focus and hip from ground through hip technique and some sword stuff on the Pell, and we're gonna add a little bit of the kata stuff in at the same time. So I want everybody to get their Pells out, get something heavy because we're gonna do our shoulder rotations and our swings. We'll have Bess, you good to do those? Okay, we'll have Bess kind of go through all the warm up with the arms. Louis mentioned it last week. Maybe we should do the arm warm ups when we start throwing instead of at the beginning. So we're gonna do those arm warm ups. But everybody go get some water. I know I need some. It's getting sunny out here. We're gonna give everybody and we'll be here. Lots of people go ahead and talk or whatever. We'll give it like 3-4 minutes. All right. Go get your stuff. So yeah, get these guys on the pad first. Try to work on that. Like work that jab really. Work the straight jab first, and then work actually walk through that's all you walk through that jab. Do it with the pad. Every rotation. All I really know about it. Okay. All right, I'll be right back, guys. No, but Rongvalder will lay your stick down. Yeah, look over the YouTube video.
Ron Boulder will also tell you though that.
Your other swords, I think, are right there.
Got mine.
Oh, okay. Oh, those must be
Those
hers.
are hers. We want to bring the Pel close to this camera.
Oh, that's a good question. I could probably set it on the middle of the list. Yeah. I'll do that. Yeah, there we go. Take that let me take a look and see how that looks. Not too bad. That way I can do some jump throws and stuff like that. That way they can see, yeah, perfect idea, putting it on the angle so they can see it better. And let me move my camera. So we got the foot camera. See how that looks. All right, I think the foot cam looks pretty good. All right, let me see if I can. All right, Bess, I'm gonna highlight you. You're about ready? Let her finish petting her puppy there. And I'm gonna replace the spotlight with you, Bess.
Okay.
Awesome.
So again, today we'll be warming up our shoulders, and I'll just, it's important to fix our rotator cuff. So I use a heavy jug filled with water. You can use a milk jug, you can use your helm. Just bend over and you're just letting it hang from your shoulder, and you're making little circles. You're not using your arm to make the circles. You'll notice that I'm moving my body and I'm letting momentum carry it. And I'll do about a dozen circles or so one way, and they get gradually smaller, and then I'll do them the other way. And again, it's momentum carrying it. This is stretching out your shoulder joints and stretching out your tendons a little. And then sideways, back and forth. Again, momentum. And I actually find it very comfortable.
It is, actually.
I think you need to have had shoulder surgery to really appreciate this. And
you know, it kind of feels like you're stretching that arm out and you're giving it space again, you know?
It really does. And then backwards and forwards. Oh. And then, I can always tell where they reattach their shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay, and now just switch to your other arm. And the circles.
I like this helmet idea.
And then the other way. And this is just really good. I tend to do it throughout the day as well. Stretching out. I sit at my desk a lot, doing a lot of computer work. So this really helps me get my shoulders back. And then sideways. And then forwards and back. Okay. And for the last stretch, put this down, all you're doing is bringing your arms up level and bringing them back. And you're just squeezing or your shoulder blades, pushing them back, however you want to phrase it. And you'll feel the stretch, or hopefully you'll feel a stretch through the front.
turn sideways some, Bess?
I'm trying to keep, oh, sorry. I'm trying to keep in line with my shoulders and back.
And what this does is for people, my shoulder blade was literally not moving, which caused a lot of my shoulder injuries. Because if your shoulder blade doesn't actually reach back and actually move, then you're all using your shoulder for all that rotation, which is really bad for it. It took a lot of therapy to actually get them to pull that shoulder blade off and make it movable again.
So the last thing that I do is I just hold my arms. This is my arm that had shoulder surgery. So I just tend to hold it backwards a little bit. And that just provides a little extra stretch. So I have a friend who's a massage therapist. She says that 30 seconds will help stretch it, will make it looser. But if you really want to stretch something and make it much looser, hold it for about 1 minute. I'm not going to ask you to hold it for 1 minute, but you can certainly do that afterwards. And it really stops, stretches out here because I know I'm at a computer all day. The other thing you can do is when you're hanging around doing nothing, rotate your shoulders. And if you rotate your shoulders, it puts them back where they're supposed to be. And you'll notice my thumbs end up forward as opposed to sitting in front. So just a big shoulder rotate and just, I end up standing straighter. My back is straighter. I'm not like being an old lady hunchback. And my thumbs are facing forward as they should be. So that's me.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great start. And you can do those shoulders forward and backwards. Backwards for sure.
Yeah.
And again, that allows those shoulder blades to move and pull them back and create a little bit more strength in the back. And that should loosen those shoulders up a little bit. So let's everybody keeping that in mind as we keep going forward, because I really like to see everybody fighting as long as they can. I see Grimmer's doing some of those nice. I'm gonna highlight you, Grimmer, just so they can see Grimmer's warming up with some of the nice dumbbell or the sword work. Let's see, replace spotlight. There we go. And he's showing the dangerous way with the axe. You know, he has to do it all over the top. So we got those good, nice rotational hammer throw type of scenarios. So. Yep, and then he switches hands and he just does it again the other way. All right. All right. So that was nice. Thank you, Grimmer. That's the way. I love that everybody's great with helping each other out. It goes a long way. That's the best part, I think, about what we have going is everybody cares about each other. Everybody wants to help each other. We're all part of practice. That's where really, remembering if you do have a question, speak up. Only because it makes it a lot easier for Rungvalder and I or anyone else to answer questions. And there's no dumb question, believe me. That's the big piece there is sometimes we just forget about stuff. I like Magrat's like she's Pell envy every time I bring out my Pell. I know. Yeah, I love the jacket on our Pells. We're pretty lucky. I see Jan saying, have you folks come across the 10 thumb shoulder exercise? I see, yep, there he is. What's the 10 thumb? I'm gonna highlight you, Jan. And can you show us the 10 thumb shoulder exercise? Hold on. All right, there you are.
It's fairly easy. It's basically standing up straight as you can, shoulders nice and back. Put your arms out with your thumbs up, get in the middle, and you just do 10 gentle bounces.
Oh, I like it.
And then you turn your thumbs down for 10, and then forwards for 10, backwards for 10. And if you've got shoulder injuries, you'll find some of these a little bit more uncomfortable than others. and just do as much as you can. But once you've done 10, then you start again with 9.
Oh.
And you work your way down to 1. Takes a couple of minutes, but when I was doing archery, I knackered my shoulders up pretty bad, shooting a bow that was too heavy, especially this one. And that exercise really got me back into archery, and it also made me a better archer for it, because by the time I'd done that for a good 6 months or whatever, my shoulders had actually gone back into this sort of natural sort of, they were sitting where they should do, rather than, doing this forward thing.
Yeah.
Back here. And it also helped with my archery as well.
Awesome.
And I also found that with the heavy combat, it was actually helping me get my stick up here and do, throwing shots from that sort of height instead of, just straight flat.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. That's a nice exercise. I like it. And again, there's an example where we get all to help each other and learn something, because I've never thought about that one, but I just did it a little bit, and I could tell you I'm going to try to add that one myself, just because I've been having a lot of shoulders. I'm hoping maybe that might help my shoulder problems I have right now. All right, so we're looking pretty good. I'm going to get on to Pell. I got to find where I had a box of sword. There it is. All right, so the next big piece is we're going to start with the simple long jab step. This is one we've done a million times. We're going to build a little bit on it, but at first we're going to do just the simple one first. Let me move this to, I can view everybody. On my side, we'll stay on me, but this makes it easier for me to see everyone, okay? So, we're gonna think about harken back to what I talked about earlier today, and that is adding our hip into this shot and the complete shot here. So it looks like I'll probably end up having to move that camera a little bit. Let's see where the Pell is. Yeah, I'm gonna move him back a little. That way you guys can see me jump in. Everybody, am I still pretty good in frame, it looks like? So again, our first one is this, and push out. Remember, on that push, the idea is this is the jab. So we jab with the step, we push our hip from toe to hip to sword. And that sword should be coming straight out, bang. I usually lift, and we're going to add a little bit more detail, and I'm not going to force you guys into this, but just so you know, as I usually break my fingers and hand a little bit up, I break that sword at the end. So even though that sword's traveling here, you can see my hand then kicks up at the very end. What that does is changes the angle of your sword, and it changes the angle of their block. And because you're doing it at the very end, they have very little time to change. So the idea is if I start this here, I lose range. I push straight at his face, and then I break my sword up here. And you see how my sword breaks down? I use these back fingers. I pull that sword, and my hand's higher than the shield at this point. So if my opponent was literally just standing here and I threw this shot and that shield is in the right spot, shield's a little low right now. Let me see if I can get it up one more. There we go. So I got a very, very small spot to hit. If I throw that, you notice I hit the shield here. But if I break at the very end, right, I can kind of break above that shield, almost letting go of the sword a little bit. So here I am. Now I'm going to add the foot. I jump, and I throw. I jump, I throw, I jump back. Again, jump, throw, turn that hip. So that sword comes across you. Jab, and back. Sword comes back with you. Back to Sean's idea, right? Duke Sean talks about this a lot. The return That return is just as important as your throw out. So concentrate on nice bursty stuff in this one. If at first, if it feels awkward, do it one step at a time. Here I am, I jab. I start my turn of my feet. I punch up and I try to hit my hand at the end, raising my hand. And then I bring that sword back and then I jump back. All right, again, long jab, forward, start turning, throw, back, jump back. All right, I want to watch a little bit. Rongwald, are you still out there?
I am here.
Right. Awesome. So keep an eye on. So again, there's lots of ways to throw this shot. One is you can rotate at the very end of the shot, kind of like, and you kind of have to do that, Angie, because it looks like you're like shooting at a pole in the house, so you can't throw straight down. That's fine. Severid, try to hit that top of top of the pel, like you're almost hitting the top of the head. And don't roll, just almost like you're breaking down. Yeah, more on, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, there you go. There you go. All right, Grimmer, I want to see you. Craig, you're looking great.
When you're throwing this against an offhanded person, does your fist cross their face? Or do you leave it on the same side for more protection?
So I usually, no matter what, I usually put this across my face because even in the opponent, even off opponent, again, if you're off to the side, you're not directly in front of your opponent. So if you leave stuff that way, you're losing range. So I still usually punch it across and then I bring it back out for the good block against an off opponent. Okay? Because he's going to throw that backside, but you want the longest possible distance. So your longest possible distance is making sure that sword goes across the front of your body. So make sure, again, I want you to strike at the top, Grimmer. I want you to strike almost down. I'm going to show you. Craig, actually, and let me show you, Grimmer, right, real quick. And everybody, if you want to watch this, that's fine. Here I am. I see a lot of people rolling this out. You notice they roll out. So I see this. What I want you to do is almost like a 1 o'clock angle, and I break it high. So instead, I'm looking like this. I bring that hand across, and then I break. See how my hand comes up at the end? Push, hand comes up. And Grimmer, this is important for you because you're going to hit that tiny little gap, and you're tall enough, you break down on somebody, that's a huge block for them. William, that is really good. It's exactly. Now break your hand up. You're bringing your basket. There you go. Don't bring that basket down at the end of the throw. Because if you bring that basket down at the end of the throw, you're changing the angle to a poor angle. Right into their shield practically. Bridget, that's actually really good. And now I want you to, you're throwing that perfect. I want you to isolate your hip a little bit more, okay? So I really want you to think about adding your hip in isolation. So another jump in your spot, and like, I'm going to turn this hip and throw this. So you're just concentrating on that hip a little bit more. Best, don't cock back. You're pushing forward all the time. Yes. Your sword goes forward from the beginning of that jump to the end. You're not going to bring it back into a cocking position. You're driving it right at your opponent. You should think you're following your sword into your opponent. Craig, I'm going to turn into you because you're doing a nice job. I just let people watch what you're doing over there a little bit. You're like a million miles away from that pel, which is awesome. You notice how he's breaking on the top of his pel. Look at that nice high throw. Exactly. And you notice that his sword never comes back. It's not cocking back. He's jumping into position and he throws. Now go ahead, Craig. I want all one. So jump and throw at the same time.
For sword position, remember your basket hilt lines up between your shoulder and your target. If your basket is starting outside your shoulder and you are swinging the sword, you are not throwing it.
And again, on that point, understand if that's what you want to do, that is perfectly fine. But you have to know that, because this is one of those failing spots that even me and Rongvalder work on. If what you'll see in the back of me here, I'm Craig. I'm going to change that. Craig, you're looking great, by the way. I'm going to change back to my view. Let me replace. So here I am. And what Rongvalder is talking about is this. Here I am. Rongvalder, tell me if this, you can tell in this video because I got my back to it. Look at where my hand is. See how my hand is outside this shoulder? Look where my hand is now. See how it's in front of the shoulder or almost inside the shoulder? So I'm going to go turn towards the video. See how my hand's outside my shoulder?
That shows it better.
Right? Look how it's in front of the shoulder. Outside the shoulder, in front of the shoulder. So outside, what happens is you get a tilt on the sword. You get a little cock, which is perfectly fine if you're throwing rotationally. Right? We don't care. But in this case, we're showing you a different method, and that is in front. And this I'm going to show you with a shield. So here I am with a shield. And you remember we were working on some Pell work a while back, and we were working perfect shield all the time. Perfect sword, perfect shield. Look what happens when my hand's outside my shoulder. You notice the gap is a little larger. The gap in here is a little larger. Right? Now look. Right? Now that gap is tiny. And all I do is I throw and I push almost across the body almost. So really, I'm going to get a sword with a blade on it. So you can see this. Here I am. I push. You notice my hand has to actually turn as I push across my body. If I don't turn my hand, now my sword is pointing over this way. But as I turn and make sure that I'm pushing forward and lining up my line of the sword and then throwing it, you notice the line is right on you.
Grace, you said there were no dumb questions.
Yep.
As a female fighter who's built reasonably large, is it okay when I'm putting my hand across, there's something, shall we say, in the way? So I'm going to have to push my hand out. Wolfram, it's not funny, it's a valid question.
No.
I'm going to have to push my hand out and then turn it to negotiate this here. So
That is
still
correct.
okay for that shot?
Of course. And the trick is, some of that is making sure, like, you're going to be, your body, there's a width to your body no matter what. So everybody has a width. And your arm has to be outside that width. You notice, even the way I am now, I got some gap in here. But the basket itself is still in front of the shoulder.
Yeah. Thank you.
Right? So now, so everything's kind of out of the way. And then as I turn, I get it out of the way even more. Remember, we turn in those feet. Look, watch my feet here. Here I am. I turn in those feet, and the sword's going forward.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep.
Does that help?
It totally does. It's just you always have to remember, and I always ask these kind of questions because there may be other female fighters with the same issues as we have width out front, if you see what I mean.
Exactly.
Side to side.
So and the big piece ends up being just making sure you got even better form, making that sword out in front of you a bit, keeping it keeping it at least the height of your shoulder. So that helps free it up a little bit.
Versus the lefty, do you cheat out with the hand?
Ciao. Thank you.
No.
So versus the lefty, I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to change a lot other than my stand, or other than I think about where my danger is. So here I am. I squat a little bit. You notice the difference? Right? And when you squat, I'm not doing this. I'm squatting down. I'm just getting a little lower so I can pick up those leg shots. Right? The problem with a lot of people is they turn They want to pick up that offside. So they turn. A couple of things happen. One is you end up getting groin shotted a lot in a turn, and your sword is behind you now. It can't actually block. One of the worst things that happens is as you're fighting a lefty, you turn and thinking that you're more defensive, and you end up actually not being as defensive. So be careful not to change your form. Even if I'm gonna throw offside, here I am standing right in front of him. I'm gonna push. See, I just lean over a little. I lean in that area. You notice my sword shield didn't change much. I might even lean that area and then throw the other end, right? I might drop in here, and there's not a lot of changing going on.
So if I wrap to your elbow, you're still gonna block it.
Heck yeah, so my wrap to the elbow is literally a block forward. That's a block to the elbow. Instead of this, which a lot of people want to do a turn block to the elbow, but that puts my sword in a place I can't throw. So be aware of that. All right, back to the Pell real quick. So we just did the jump jab, break, throw, back. This time, jump jab, roll off to the side. So we're gonna roll off to you're gonna roll off to their sword side. So if you're left-handed, you're still rolling off opposite of what we did. So before I get this one away, I'm going to ask you guys. So we're rolling off to the side where there is their sword side. You're throwing that jab shot. We already know that one. What would your next shot be? So Grimmer looked like he has a nice little looping wrap to the back of the leg. Bess is thinking about it still. What's your next shot after that jab shot, Bess? Nice, William.
If I'm sideways, I'm just gonna come straight across the back.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because that's a sword, so the sword has a lot less blocking area. And if they turn, then you could even turn that into a wrap and get deeper if you want. Right?
Yeah.
So you notice that the reason why I'm asking people here, I want you guys to think about it. You may throw something a little better than what I do, and that may be a better shot. Like Eric's trying jab shot, and then he rolls off, and he's doing a offside head shot, which is very nice. The trick on that offside head shot is just make sure you got your shield in a good blocking form. Grimmer's throwing, yeah, he threw a real quick snap to the head and then went down to the leg, which is really nice. Make sure you got edge on that, Grimmer. Yeah, you look pretty good. I just want to make sure you're dropping in your stance, which is good. Let's see what Craig does here.
Remember, once you do your 2 shots, you should end in stance. Don't stop fighting.
Right.
On a different note, what I like about this particular exercise is it helps me learn if my body is in the right position. And the way I do that is I do what you guys are practicing right now, which is thinking about what the next comfortable shot is. But once I get that, I look to make the move and then throw to other areas. If I cannot do that, then I have done something wrong in my footwork or my stance. I should be able to throw anywhere on that second shot.
Branus, could you show this again? Would you mind?
Okay.
Just the change from the jump step to where you're going, because I think I missed something critical there.
So I'm letting you decide your second blow, but here in mine, jab, and we're gonna go to their sword side. Right. So we did this crossing back step.
Okay, I their sword side. That's the bit I missed. I thought it was
their sword. Yeah, that's on me. I apologize. So go to their sword side and tell me what you'd like to do. I will tell you what I throw, is an inside leg shot. So I jab in here, bang, and I sweep here. And then I drop low and I hit the inside of that leg. Because their shield is on the other side of their body. Yes, Craig, that is exactly it. And by the way, they will hate you after this. You will never be their friend again. And you'll have to buy them probably lunch or something, because you're going to leave a bruise on the inside of their leg, because getting hit on the inside of the leg is probably the worst place to get hit. In the end, you could do that front of the sword or back of the sword like you just did. You did kind of a pulling back with the false edge. Perfectly fine. That's exactly it. And again, in this shot, you remember how we talked about using the top part of your sword? We have to use the top part of that sword. Otherwise, the rest of the sword gets in the way. Right? So we remember, last 6 inches.
Did you say inside leg shot?
Yeah. Yeah, let me pull somebody and I'll show you it.
All right.
I'm gonna borrow Vanjie here for a second. All right, so I have actually, and she looks great in her new armor, so I can't say nothing. This is Vanjie, so I'm gonna have you hold this shield. So in this case, what we're doing is I'm jumping, throwing here. See how she blocks here? And then I'm rolling, and that's the inside leg shot right down here. And let's turn it around again. I'm gonna get you right here. Bang, bang. See how I'm sliding to the side and I'm throwing this inside leg. And even in a traditional stance with that foot forward, I can do this. Bang, I jump in, bang, bang.
Something to watch for with this shot is, this is one of those situations where your body is going the same direction you are throwing. So your instinct will be to swing the sword because you have all this momentum traveling that direction. Just like all the other shots, you are not swinging your sword, you are pushing it forward. So what Bronis is doing is he's firing straight forward, he cuts to the left, and then he throws straight forward to his target from the left. He's not swinging like a baseball bat.
And I'm going to tell you, Rongvalder nailed it on the head. This is a very small detail. This is something that people really, I would say the majority of people don't understand. And I want to share it with you guys because I think it's super important. And that is, just like when we throw that sword, if I'm just doing this, I'm not throwing out, I'm just circling. But when I do this, I'm casting that sword out. Same thing when I hit a leg. Even if I drop, and I do this, this is, again, no range, right? And the sword is, I'm creating energy through the swing. But if I drop and I push, you know, the sword comes straight out. Look at my elbow, it goes straight. Now I can reach an opponent that's farther, and I got all that power coming right through my hip. Bang! Pushing right at the, pushing all forward again. So that's the key, what Rongvalder's saying. Even though I could do this, notice I'm just swinging. I don't. This comes here, and then I reach. Okay, I push out as I'm going sideways. That way that power is still coming forward, yes. And what you're going to, most of you guys are going to find out, everybody here is going to find out is you'll probably have to adjust your range a little bit farther away from people.
There is a secondary, he's exactly right with all of this, and that's what's important. What I want to throw out for those who are more advanced, there is a secondary benefit to this. If you are stepping across and swinging in a circle, that's the only shot you can throw. If you are stepping across and throwing forward in a line like he is describing, then if in a particular situation you cut to, say, the left, you can still throw straight elsewhere. You'd lose your options if you swing in a circle.
Exactly, and I really like that Rongvalder clarified a little bit of that, and he is 100% right. If you watch a lot of that circular momentum, people get these rolling motions, right? So So, and that is perfectly fine, but you have to create a flow with your body. And then you have to set up your opponent that flow works. So I'm gonna fake throw at their head, bang, bang, to the leg. See how that flow goes? That is perfectly fine work, as long as you know the limitations and that I don't have defense. After this shot, no defense. This is gone, I'm over here. Now I got this shot and then defense if I want. Where if I jump in, bang, I go back into, the sword comes back here and here, or bang, slide, my sword comes back, throw.
See how every time he comes back, that sword is coming back in front of his shoulder. This is something we figured out with, if anybody's familiar with I-33, the old period fighting styles, Sir Dubrick worked a long time with this, and we figured out that you can throw all these loopy shots on one condition. Every time you come back on the loop, it passes through that spot that is about 1 foot in front of your shoulder. Then you can change direction. If you miss that space, you've lost your ability to throw to other places. Just like Brana showed, if you come back and your spot is not in front of your throwing shoulder, but like he showed, and actually in front of his shield shoulder, he can throw a really good backhand shot, but he can't throw other shots. He's sacrificed them. So it has to come back to that spot. That's why you'll see if somebody is in close and using their shield to defend, if you can get your shield in that space, you don't even have to touch their sword. If they cannot cross through that space, they are forced into only certain shots. Now, you don't have to remember all that, but what you want to get out of it is that spot in front of your shoulder, that's how vital it is. These are all the things you lose when you don't come back there.
You also lose accuracy a little bit. So you have to, by returning to the same spot, defensively, you're strong. Offensively, you're strong because you throw from here all the time. Your accuracy will be better. Your defense will be better. And that's really the part that we want to make sure that you understand. This is the way we do it. So when I'm looking at a fake, here's a fake for us. Here, I just faked the offside. Bang. All right? That's a combination. We'll find out in other areas, bang, bang. That's a combination. Same thing. The only difference is we don't throw the first one. Because a lot of times, bang, now I'm rolling, here's a shot, bang. So you got to be careful when you're rolling. There's times that you can lose some defense. And fighting, as much as we want to hit everybody, it's about consistency. So be consistently good at defense. Be consistently good at getting back into what you're normally in, your stance that you're normally in, and you will find that you will hit people more often. You'll find that once you get past 2 or 3 blows, you start defensively, you start breaking down. Offensively, you start losing accuracy. So by resetting constantly to the place that you throw best, you're more consistent about throwing good shots and more consistent about being better defensively. Does that make sense? You know, that's the idea. Maybe a little bit boring. It's like, here I am, bang, 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 set up, get back in the game, right? So the idea is I threw 3 shots there. I knew I was going to throw. Jab, that's a good shot. I'm trying to hit that. Inside leg, they blocked that. Upside head. Step back for a second. And then change angles, get back into the next 3 shots you're going to throw. So every time there's a break, it's a new fight. That's the thing to remember mentally. Even better in this new fight, you know your opponent better. You know how they reacted, and you can take advantage of it. This is a thinking fight. But if I just throw every shot I have in the toolbox, then I'm not really thinking through that fight. I'm just throwing technique at somebody. And that may absolutely work until you reach the levels of the people that are like, that's all garbage. I don't care what you're throwing. You haven't really put me anywhere I have to worry about it. So we're teaching you how to get to the end. And through the middle part of that, you know, the idea is you're going to be foundationally good. Me and Ron Walder, the idea is we're not throwing anything special. We're not throwing crazy blows. We're not throwing 10-piece combinations to get you in the right perfect place. It is literally 2 or 3 blows, maybe 1. I threw a lot of 1 blows and we're done. And then we move on. If that didn't work, I reset, I start pressuring, I remember what he did, I categorize that, and I go into more pressure and see what the weaknesses are. And then I throw something, step back a little bit for a sec, get back into gear, and then start categorizing again and see if I found any weaknesses. So that's the idea here, is that we have to think through a fight. And that's what I want to really make all of you think about. All right, so everybody had their second blow. I don't care what that was. I showed you mine. Here I am, jab. I came off, whoops, threw a leg shot. So my next blow is going to be a cross foot over here into a wrap over here. Okay, so what I'm seeing my opponent do is I throw the jab shot. They raise their shield, blind themselves. Cross foot, inside leg. He brings that shield, turns towards me. Over here. As he turns towards me, I'm going the other way and wrapping behind the shield edge. So that's my 3-shot combination. But I wanted you guys to take your second shot and what comes out of your second shot. Remember, you weren't throwing the inside leg. And think about what you were throwing and what comes into that third shot. You notice I'm really pushing you guys to think about stuff right now, right? And that's the idea. I want you to think about this. You guys know technique. I want you to think about how you're going to keep working through these. Jan, I'm happy you said that that filled a fundamental gap in your understanding there.
Yeah, I've had it explained a couple of times, and it's the penny's just dropped. So cheers for that, both of you, by the way.
What dropped?
So the penny's just dropped. I have had it explained to you before, but you know, sometimes you just need the right words in the right order. That worked. Cheers.
Awesome, good. I'm happy to hear that. And again, right, so I see like Sivert is doing actually 3 rotations around his opponent, throwing from that jab shot to offside head and then to the leg. And now William's doing it, jab shot, offside, inside leg shot. So they're working through a technique. So that's what I see out of, and I'll show you guys, I'm gonna highlight their screen. So this is again, you notice I'm not telling you guys what to do here on purpose. Now, William, get that sword back defensively every time. Jab, defense. Offside, defense. Inside, there you go. Don't bend over for that shot, Sivert. Drop your legs. Much better, William. You notice your sword's ready to do it at a 4th shot if you want, because you always get it back to the right place. Yeah, it's better. Good. Let's see how everybody else is doing. I like you guys did a nice job figuring out what you want to do. That's the way, Angie. So give me a thumbs up if I can highlight you. Okay, I'm going to highlight Angie for a second. And she picked her 3 shots. So she's doing the jab shot. Bang. Upper head, offside head. Step in, rack. All right? So again, she picked that. And she may find maybe that step in wrap doesn't work, but at least she is figuring out what she believes in her head her opponent is going to respond like. All right? And that's what I want all of you to do, is I want you to figure out. Eric, I'm going to highlight you for a sec. All right, let's see what you're doing. Go ahead, I highlighted you. So he's going to throw that jab step. Nice, good jab step. Hey, yes, yes. Nice, not little crossover step there, right in front of his opponent into that hook to the back leg, which is a really nice shot. And then now he's even digging deeper on the off. So you notice you guys are literally using your feet in the way we've been training to do stuff here, right? You're not even thinking about your feet. You're just following that sword, and your feet are doing the things that you guys have been working on. And that's the part that is so, so important. All right, let's see how everybody else.
Grimmer, watch your hip position. When you take your second or third move, you're beginning to think about where do you want to throw so you can swing it, as opposed to making sure your sword hip is pointing at your target.
All right, Bridget, I'm watching you.
Not all the time, just sometimes. You see now when you do that, your force goes straight into your target, not across it. Nice.
Now, Bridget, I want you to really concentrate on those 3 shots. I want burst onto those. In other words, just focus. And I want them perfect. In other words, you're going to focus on being perfect. Throw that first one, good one. Take a second, move your feet, throw the next one, good one. Think about that in your head, okay?
Best, that was a nice 3-shot combination. Watch when you go low. See, one thing I'll do is try to keep my eyes up on my opponent's throat when I go down, so your head doesn't go down.
Good. Now, Bridget, I want you on that second one. I want you to drop into those legs for that leg shot. Right now, you're throwing it standing up, which is going to hit their shield. I want you to drop.
That's beautiful, Grimmer. You see how when you're down like that, you could actually change your mind and throw a headshot. Nice.
Much better. It almost looks like you felt better in that one. So, Bridget, I want you one more time. When you drop, I want both legs to drop, just not one. You leaned over a little bit on that, right? We want to keep the body nice and square. Keep it nice and stacked. Remember, we're trying to always keep that body stacked. Yes. Good. All right. So the last piece, Bridget, later on, we're going to work a little bit on the wraps, okay? And just you got a little bit of tweak on that wrap to get it right so you don't hurt your arm. All right. Good. Magrat, you feeling good about this? You can squat and give me a thumbs up. Do you figure out all 3 blows? I got your camera down at your feet. All right. Great, go ahead. I want to see your 3 blows. There. Thank you, Magrat. Everybody, I'm going to replace for Craig here. There we go. Oh, I'm not quite sure why that came up that way. Nice. That's a jab stab, leg, and then head again. Nice. So if anybody's watching Craig, you can see how focused. Look at his feet are like bursting into those positions and then throwing. Grimmer, you drop. You got to drop with that leg shot. That's why we're doing squats. All of these squats are because of Grimmer when we warm up. Just make sure everybody knows until he starts squatting with his leg shot, I'm going to start doubling up our squats.
And you know what? He knows it too. That's the funny part.
All right, Magrat, I'm on you again. I can see you. Let's see that jab shot, your second shot, and your third shot. Nice. Yes, I like it. That's a nice little hook wrap. That's the way to do that. Good.
Agnes, I like your flow. Make sure after your first shot that your hip is involved in generating the power for the other shots, even though you're still going slow.
Yeah. And again, I'm still on Craig here, and I'm going to tell you, the stuff he's throwing is really, you can see the focus in the shot. You see how he's just giving it. That shot is burst. So you got that relaxation and breathing and that control in your feet. But then when you throw that shot, you mean it. And then you relax in between each shot. Yes. Thank you, Craig. That's awesome stuff.
Sivert, your second shot is swung and not thrown. You'll notice when you end, your hand is outside your shoulder.
Yana, I'm coming to you next. He picked that up. He saw that he didn't return his hand to the right place.
That looked better, sir. It looked like more power towards your target.
Yeah. There you go. Good. Ah, you bent over. All right. All right, Jan, I'm coming on to highlighting you. All
That's
right.
the squat is much better now. That looks like you have so much more power going into your target and are still aware of what they can do.
Jan, your speed in your hands look really, really good. I love that you're adding those little changes in your feet as you're in between blows.
Bronis, did you notice Grimmer is practicing his squats?
Kill the Pel.
That yeah, you did kill the Pel. Jan, that is I really you have the timing of your throw and your and those movement is really, really nice. I hope some of that came from us, or if that's just the way you were all the time, but that really looked good.
Yeah, there's definitely been noticeable improvement in shot power and also speed of transition for one.
Oh yeah, I'm amazed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Abelard, we're coming to you.
It is, so everybody knows, this is truly exciting for Bronis and I to watch the change and improvement of everyone.
That's it, Abelard. Now pop, bang, bang, offside. Now, when you throw that lower leg, where is your body supposed to be? Oh, you're supposed to stand up like that? That's where his shield is. All right, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to squat. Yes, let's do it. Otherwise we're going to be up to 30 squats between you and Grimmer. Right, don't lean forward. Just sit down like we've been practicing and do it totally separate if you have to. I think some of you lean forward is because of how small your sword is. That's all. There you go. Okay. Stay nice and close to that pole on the last shot. Yeah, you see how your shoulder's leaning forward? See if you can just do it. Even if you can't hit the pole, that's fine. Just sit, keep your back straight on that last shot. And don't worry about hitting the pole. That's better. Good. All right. That's what I wanted to see. All right. How's everybody feeling? Do you feel like we went in a direction that you guys are happy with? So let's just give this a talk. We're going to go ahead and talk this out and interrupt. So everybody go ahead and take a break, get your water, and let's get our final discussion in here. First, I got a question for Romgaller. How's that leg feeling, Romgaller? Uh-oh. Did you leave us, Romgaller?
Sorry, I left it on mute, so I don't know why you didn't hear me.
No, I don't either.
It's the surgery I think went well. It's right now it's very weak and unstable. Tuesday I find out some more about where things are going. That's my follow-up appointment, so we'll see what happens after that.
All right, I'll get a hold of you then. But you know what? Is that most of the pain gone?
The pain is pretty much gone, although I'm limiting myself on what I can do. But the pain I had before, yeah, that's gone.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Abelard's working that deep squat hook. That's much better, buddy. Very nice. All right, so I'm gonna get in front of the camera and we're just gonna talk a little bit. So, and everybody's go ahead and unmute. And so, how did everybody feel about today? And Romgaller's 100% right. You notice I pushed you guys to develop your own thing today, right? Instead of, okay, we're going to go through something I showed you. This today was, I wanted you guys to feel your own body and understand what you're doing. How do you feel about that exercise?
Yeah, this has all been excellent.
Hey, Ron, you still have one spotlighted.
Oh, okay, I'll change Abelard. He's still working hard, so it's
there's only one part of the drills and exercises that we've been doing that I've had to kind of modify for myself, and that's been the drills which involve both feet being off the floor at the same time.
Yes.
It's not so much taking off; it's the landing. And both my knees have suffered over the years. So for me, those don't work. But what I've managed to do by a combination of gather or shuffle steps is to mimic roughly the same amount of movement that those steps give you, albeit with perhaps they're slightly slower, but they still work.
Nope, that's good. And again, you remember all of us are going to be a little different. So the good part is you figured out what was comfortable and what worked for you. And that's what I expect all of you to do. Figure out what's comfortable and what works for you, and get it in there. If there's something fundamentally wrong, what we try to do is go back and say, okay, we got to watch that. You're leaning or something like that. But there is nothing wrong, especially with, when you have bad knees or anything else, that you have to change up stuff. Louis has some bad calf stuff, so he changes up the way he does his jab steps and things. So the same thing goes, sometimes you have to change those up, and that's perfectly fine, because again, if you notice, we're trying to get everyone to understand themselves better, and I think that's the big key. So anyone else want to talk about how the exercises went today?
I really liked the explanation you gave on the linear power with the jab step at the very beginning. That was really useful for me. I was taught how to throw much more rotational, and so that helped me really understand much better.
Yeah, and some of that is I just want everybody, again, you don't have to throw like that, and it's not an easy throw. There's lots of components. Everyone's like, oh, nobody can throw like you and Rongvalder. You guys are going to throw different. This is the way it's going to be. So our throw is relatively complex. I will admit to that, because there's a lot of pieces of that throw. With your elbow coming across the body, your angle changes in your hand as you're pushing forward, you're breaking from toe to hip to that linear extension, your force out. Again, we covered a lot of the pusher sword out today. And then the breaking the angle at the very end. That's a relatively complex shot. It takes time to learn. It takes time to perfect. Good footwork takes time to learn, takes time to perfect. But the idea was I want to explain that to you so that you have an idea. So even if you just find one or two pieces of that work for you, that's fine. You keep building. It's like, hey, I want this jab to work the right way. And the good part is that you can make it change the way we deliver. You can change just slightly any one of those conditions for the angle that your opponent presents you. So, but beware. You're going to have a little bit of rotation time to time. If you're working with somebody, ask them to watch for that. I mean, what happens, and I'll give you an example. Not only do we have our hand in front of our shoulder, but the sword tip is actually in front of our head. If you look, the top of my sword here, if I'm wearing a helmet, is in front. So I push. You notice it doesn't do this. Now, sometimes, and I'm going to throw you under the bus a little, Rongvalder, and you can tell them, you'll agree. Once in a while,
I already know what you're going to do. Yeah.
Rongvalder gets right here. Look where that sword tip is. It's above and behind my head. So now, and Rongvalder, tell them what happens when it gets there.
I do everything right. Everything feels fine, but everybody blocks my shots.
Because it becomes rotational.
Yeah. Yep.
And it doesn't mean he doesn't know how to do it. It means that he checks on me and he tells me, hey, let you know your back foot is pointed way off. He does that to me all the time. And then I fix it. And then I watch that sword for him. Sometimes he's like, what am I doing? And he just stands there for a second. I go, this. He's like, okay, and we're done. He runs off and wins the tournament. That's what we do for each other. So when you're working with somebody else, have them watch things. And if you don't have somebody else, tape yourself. Tape yourself and just take time to watch it a little bit. All right? That's really important. All right, who else has something?
I can't jump like, oh, sorry. Was someone else speaking? Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I can't jump like Yannick. It's a good thing Yannick's teaching me, because I got the same thing. I can't do that jumping. It's not the jumping, it's the landing. But I was finding with those flows, when they low shots, I'm kind of like, I can't move my knees like that. But yeah, when my body's in flow, I'm jumping. I was not jumping, but stepping really low around Wolfram. Yeah. And I'm already short, so I can step low and get somebody's leg. And
Exactly.
that just happened naturally.
Yeah, it's with Taekwondo when we used to do
Yeah,
horse
it is, because my
Yeah.
body's remembered that.
Awesome. And that's, again, what you're doing is you're finding the place in the flow that you're lower. And instead of making a separate piece, it's like, oh, I'm low here and then I'm flowing through it. Right?
Yeah.
So here you are. I'm gonna go to that side. As I reach out for that side, do a drop step, I'm lower and then I flow and I can stand back up. Right?
Yeah.
And you find that place, and it's because you understand the movement better. And you're feeling it in your body better. And that's exactly what Jan was talking about, actually.
It's remembering. It's remembering when I used to be doing Taekwondo, and I would go down low like that, and I would punch straight into somebody's gut, and it's come back.
Good.
And that was
I'm happy
20
to hear
years
that.
ago, so cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and while we're here, if I can say, when you were just talking about the shot that we're doing, it actually kind of reminds me of like a long sword cut down into long point, but just done with one hand, just done with a leading hand. And I don't know about other people, but I've sometimes found when it comes to trying out shots or getting comfortable with them, sometimes if I play around with it with a stick that I can have two hands on, it helps me figure out, will this work with one hand essentially as a single-handed sword, and it helps me get shots.
Exactly. So you're developing. It's kind of like what the exercise we just used, right? You're like, I'm going to feel through this. I'm going to let that we all understand our bodies now. And the more we understand those bodies, the better we feel the flow. And we can tell if we're losing flow or gaining, or where the point in the flow to do something is. And that's, I think, the biggest piece here is you're finding, and that's what I'm trying to do. Is I think both Marangvaller and I are trying to let you guys build all of those base and now help you guys find your own space to take advantage of it. And that's the mental part of building a good fight. So
yeah, these pieces we're developing are going from very basics all the way up. They'll keep stacking right up to some very complicated advanced stuff. That said, you can take little bits and pieces from here and there, and even if you only get a few, you've improved. And take a few more, you improve. So don't think of this as, oh, if I don't get all this, I'm never going to reach the end. I'll tell you right now, there is no end. And any bit you get is better than what you had, and that's where you should be.
Yeah, what I tend to be feeling about these practices especially is like, oh yeah, this is from this other thing I did before. And it's actually more familiar and helps with putting it together in the SCA style. Because there's stuff that's I can get a grasp on by having remembered it from this or that.
And I have to say, I kind of have to thank you because it's invigorated him. He's loving it. So thank you.
Good, no problem.
Yeah,
Angie,
I love it.
Good. Angie, how do you feel about this stuff? Are you still here? I'm looking.
I'm here, yeah. Okay. No, this is actually really interesting to me because I'm loving learning from you guys, and it is very different from what Sean is teaching me. So what I'm getting to do here is to compare and contrast, and what I'm trying to do specifically is to find out the kind of common elements between the styles that you guys have and that he has. And as you say, how can I use those to my own advantage? So what I'm hoping to get here is a sort of an additional tool range in my toolbox, if you see what I mean.
And that's exactly, and that's why we talk about, Sean tends to be much more the flow through stuff, and that's why I know kind of the role he's rolling through that, and again, you're giving you a chance to understand, like I said, I'm not trying to force everybody to change. Our throwing style is different, but I want you to know it so that the more you understand other people's throwing styles, the more you can look and say, oh, this guy's a boxer, so I got to watch those center lines, and how do I attack it now, right? So it just builds a better understanding, which allows you to be a better fighter.
Actually, the shot throwing, the actual shot mechanics are very similar to what I've been learning from my night Duke Vitas, but the footwork is different.
Yeah. They
And,
do
so
remind
I'm
me
kind
of.
of I'm kind of blending those two together somewhat.
I'm very much appreciating the kata type exercises and the one that we did today about finding our own strikes after the first prescribed one. That was really good and that worked really well.
Good. The big piece is I want to make sure that you guys are, a lot of times I'm guiding you to the end a little bit. I want to make sure that you guys are feeling that now it's you guys are creating, and that the mental part of the game is getting covered here, and that's why that's why I bring it up right away is because I tell you guys what we're trying to work on, and then we go through stuff. You sometimes you don't think that it's the mental side, but if you look at what most of the stuff you did today, there was a lot of thinking things in each piece, including how I had to turn my hip and push that power forward, and learning the different angles, that straight line shot, and building a routine or a kata of things on your own. So there's a lot of mental pieces going on in there. So that becomes that's the reason why I've kind of been trying to focus on that mental side. Bess, how do you feel? She'll be right on. She was just warming up.
So when I finally clued into the fact that you didn't want us to go to our sword side, you wanted us to go to our opponent's sword side.
Yeah.
I ended up inventing the wrong Valder. You know, this way, that way, then low. See, this is blocking. So I invented the wrong Valder.
All right.
Yeah, and just because I do it doesn't make it right.
I'm like, I feel like I've seen this somewhere. And I'm like, oh, hells. Now I know where I saw it.
Well, awesome. Do you feel good about actually being able to build stuff yourself? And I mean, you have a lot of experience already, so.
Very much so. So the stuff that we're doing, inventing the combinations and stuff is not different than I've done in the past. Like inventing my own foot movement combination type things. But certainly the things I'm learning to incorporate them are new, and that's a really beneficial thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, I hope, Grimmer, you feeling good? You feel like you're getting somewhere here?
Yeah, I think it's really good that you had us just make it up ourselves. But I have a question. So if you're doing that 3 below combination against me and you haven't fought me, none of those are going to be shots the first time, right?
You're right, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to test them first. I'm going to see if first thing is I may jab without the actual jab to see if you're a counter shooter. In other words, if I jab into your range and you shoot right away, I know that you're going to try to wait for a counter shot on something. So I'm still in a blocking defense. I'm still in defense. I'm still good, but now I have to attack you a different way. So that's to give you an example. If I jab in and you cover, then I'm like, okay, now I got the next step, right? So that's how you have to build that fight.
And I think the graduate level part of this is being able to do multiples of those and remember them and then go back to them and kill the person.
That's correct. Not only that, but what you have to do is each step you do, you categorize in your head. It's like, okay, he's weak here and here. Now I'm going to go somewhere else and hack something else so that he doesn't remember the weaknesses he had. And then 3, 4, 5 shots down the road, you go back to those weaknesses and test them again.
Right.
Like Brana said, we don't often throw a lot of shots. We do a lot of testing and probing. But you'll notice when he's describing them, he's almost never has used the word, we throw a fake here, a fake there. We don't throw fakes. We don't do fakes. The problem I have with the term is you begin to think in your head, this is what I do when I throw a shot. This is what I do when I throw a fake. And when I see an opponent throw a fake, their body language is different. I can tell that it's not real, so I don't have to respond to it. What he's talking about is every move is a shot that we choose not to throw or throw. So even though you may be going through actual combinations now where you throw, in actuality, when we use them, our mind is thinking throw, 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 but our body is going start, start.
You went blank for a sec. Okay. All right, Eric, you good? How do you feel? You really good? Good. Tell us. You feel, and now you're kind of, how long you been doing this with us now?
Only a few weeks, probably about, this is my 4th practice with you guys.
That's what I thought. I just want to let everybody know. And how do you feel? You feel like you're learning stuff? You're kind of jumped in the deep end of the pool.
Oh yeah. I'm learning all kinds of things. I appreciate all the points that, hey, you gotta work on, you're not throwing your hip into this shot. Your feet are in the wrong position. That's all fantastic stuff, and I really appreciate that.
No problem.
I'm learning a lot. I'm very tired.
All right, good. Hey, Craig, how you're looking a little dark out there now.
Yeah, I'm north of you, so to say. Well, I'm really enjoying it. I see it's really important what Louis spoke about was that it's very easy to do it here, and it's very hard when you have an opponent against you. So you have to train it so many times just to repeat it so you can do all the stepping without thinking. And sometimes I get to the point where I feel that I moved in the correct way. And then I can do other stuff without thinking about it. I just feel it. But I'm not there at all. I also have an opponent who has really good footwork, which makes footwork even harder because they keep on destroying. Having good feet means that you can destroy what your opponent are doing, not let them to do anything. So that I have to keep on showing up so I can really get it into the spine without thinking. So I can do all the other stuff.
That's right, and that way you can start destroying him.
I would really like to develop what you talk about fates or probing, how to get better at that, because that's really, really hard.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit more on probing next week, I think, so that everybody understands what that really means. Abelard, you're the last guy. That's
what I get for coming in late.
That's okay.
We had in North Shield, we were practicing again, and I did one of the crossover footsteps against the Knights and killed him with it, and it was great. So I'm definitely learning stuff.
That's exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah, this week I'm pleased to learn that those the dropping into a crouch to throw the leg shot, which I was hoping was just a passing fad a couple weeks ago, that's a thing that we're actually gonna do, and it's really effective, and I didn't keep practicing it because it was hard, so I guess I'll keep practicing it, because otherwise Jimmer will pass me up with his squats.
Eric, I loved your bunny ears there for a second. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I wanted to get everybody's, I really wanted everybody to get some feedback for both me and Wrongballer so we can help better, and everybody else here. You know, and really I wanted to get feedback because each one of you are helping each other. So, you know, I wanted to make sure you all know this is your practice, and this is our practice, and I really want to make sure everybody's getting something out of it and that everybody have a voice in it. Okay.
You can all send us notes after practice or during the week too, if you have something that pops in your head and it's bugging you. Let us know.
Yeah, I've actually, yeah, they used the, I really like, I love that we got through some of the footwork stuff this week to cover some of the diagram stuff, and those got kind of worked out. So keep that kind of stuff coming on our group chat, because I really love that you guys talk on that group chat. It's heartwarming to me. So.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye to Facebook.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was great.
It's great to be back.